I ended up wasting a lot of money because I bought so much stuff. Like, I wish you guys could see the pile that I have in my storage room. It's crazy. Like, there's so much stuff in there. Hi guys, and welcome back to Skilled. So today we're going to be covering some of my favorite styles of nail design. It's still done with acrylic, but we're going to cover French nails. The drawing of the actual French nails, obviously you can do that on polygel, you can do it on acrylic, you can do it on soft gel, but for today's demonstration, I am going to be doing it on acrylic. So for the acrylic that I'm going to be using today, it is the Cover Acrylic Powder from Acrylic Pro, and this is in the color Elegant Tan. I feel like this is such an underrated color, which I'm going to show you guys when I do swatch it. And for my monomer today, I'm going to be pairing it with the EMA liquid monomer from Acrylic Pro in our low odor formula. This is the 8-ounce monomer. I actually really love working with the low odor formula because I do film and I work from home and I don't have like the best ventilation in the world. So with a low odor formula, it actually allows me to still use this at home and not drive my husband crazy. So really quickly, I want to swatch this just so you guys can see the color. And I am using a number 12 100% Kolinsky brush from Acrylic Pro today for my demonstration. Look at that, such a beautiful like tan color. This would look so good on like darker skin tones. Wow, that's beautiful. And I do like the fact that it does have like a kind of like a pinky base to it, which I really appreciate. Hi guys, really quickly, I did want to tell you guys that October 8th and 9th for 2 days only, our Amazon store is going to be on sale. For this year's Amazon.com Prime Day, a lot of our products are going to be up to 37% off. So that includes monomers, acrylic powders, the Ultimate Acrylic Starter Kit, and even the Flawless Pro Nail Drill. I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to pick up this Prime Day. First is I'm going to pick up these 3 different colors. This is the Cover Acrylic Powders from Acrylic Pro. I go through Sweet Pea, Soft Pink, and Pink Champagne the most. So I'm probably going to buy a bunch of these because I go through them so quickly. Next, I'm going to be picking up a ton of the EMA liquid monomers in 32 ounce, and 16 ounce, and an 8 ounce. The Ultimate Acrylic Starter Kit is definitely a steal as well. I'm going to be picking this up for my niece because she is a beginner nail tech. And this kit here comes with literally everything that she's going to need, including the 100% Kolinsky brush in there. And last but not least, the Flawless Pro E-File from Acrylic Pro. This is such a incredible drill because it's so quiet and it's basically vibration free. So this is a perfect nail drill for any beginner and professional nail tech. Don't forget, Acrylic Pro is going to be on sale on Prime Day, October 8th and 9th, and I'll see you guys all there. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut the nail tip so that it's not so freaking long. And I am going to be cutting it at a little bit of an angle today. And let's go ahead and shape and file. For anyone that has recently started to perform services on others, or you might be a beginner and you're still getting your acrylic application down, when you're filing your clients, one thing I always say is pull back their perineum, because if you don't pull back the perineum, which is these 2 kind of like side skins right here, it can really feel very uncomfortable when your files are going back and forth on that area there. I'm also going to file the tip of it just to straighten out the nails. And as you guys can see, when I'm filing this tip right here, I'm always using my thumb to hold my client's hand down so that this way they don't feel discomfort as I file back and forth, which can cause their nails to do this. Once we have this shape, let's go ahead and start our application. So I'm not going to prep the nail. I'm not going to do anything else today just because this is more of like an application and art video. But if this is on a proper client, please do prep the nail and then you can apply bond and prep over here just to dehydrate and create a beautiful surface for the acrylic to adhere. But since this is a false hand, I'm not going to do that. Okay, let's go ahead and start our application. For today's application, I'm going to focus on doing this in 2 beads. Now, what does that mean? That means my first bead is going to cover the general like length of the nail all the way from here down. Then my second bead is going to be my cuticle bead plus my apex bead combined together and then blending it back down towards that original first bead. Let's go ahead and start out with a bigger bead. For a slightly bigger bead, I want to pick up a little bit more monomer. And with that little bit more monomer, it'll give me a nice big bead to work with. flip it around. This is like the biggest thing I always see a lot of beginners make is like you go straight in. I want you guys to wait and just like count, I don't know, count to 3, count to 5, and let it polymerize first, and then you can place it down. With the 2-bead method, I like to almost like start this bead a little higher up than maybe I usually would with the 3-bead method. And this way, it'll almost get itself to kind of prepare a nice landing area for the apex / cuticle bead. By the way, look at how gorgeous this color is. This is such a natural color. I'm obsessed. When we allow the acrylic to polymerize before we start working with it, you'll notice how obedient your acrylic becomes. Do you guys see how nice this acrylic is becoming? It's not rushing everywhere. It's giving me a lot of time to work with it. And as it starts to stiffen, now I'm going to go through and wipe and then cut the tip. Beautiful, clean cut. Gorgeous. Let's take our brush and just brush it down on the side, keeping it nice and crisp, and push in the tip. Beautiful. Such a beautiful color. I'm obsessed. I want to wear this next on my own nails. Okay, so now let's go ahead and head on into our second bead. Now with the second bead, since this is going to be my cuticle and apex bead, I want to make sure that the bead that I pick up is runny enough for it to give me some time to work with it, but not too runny where it's just going to get everywhere since I'm working around the cuticle area. So I'm going to pick myself up a medium-sized bead. Gorgeous. Flip it around. Same thing. Let it polymerize on your brush first. But I'm not going to polymerize it for that long just because I do want it to still have a nice kind of a little bit of runniness to it so that I have enough time to blend it around the cuticle area. Tilt the kind fingers downwards when you guys are working towards the cuticle bead, please. And always make sure that you guys are blending from this side and then blend from the other side. And then work your way back into the middle. Look at that beautiful, easy peasy blend. So easy. There should be no rushing, and your acrylic should give you enough time to work with it. If you guys' acrylic is giving you a hard time and you're unsure of whether or not your formula is really a professional brand, I do recommend that you guys go ahead and switch out your products. That was such a big mistake that I made when I first started. Like, I didn't quite know what brands were professional. I didn't quite know why it was so important to buy professional products. So I kept buying stuff on Amazon, and it just honestly slowed everything down for me. It also caused me to have a lot of, I think, confidence issues when it came to learning how to do nails, and it really slowed me down, and I ended up wasting a lot of money because I bought so much stuff. Like, I wish you guys could see the pile that I have in my storage room. It's crazy. Like, there's so much stuff in there. And so once I actually upgraded to professional grade products like McCart Pro products, like, it really did make a huge difference in my learning curve. So, all right, as we're letting it dry, I'm going to grab out some things that I think I'm going to use for the art portion. So before we can do any art on top, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to file and shape the nail and make it super smooth so that it's ready for any art to go on top. So I grabbed my favorite grit here. This is a 100/100 hand file from McCart Pro, and we're going to use a hand file to do the shaping. Same as always, we're going to do a 5-point file. So let's pull back the perineum first, and let's take our hand file and go up and down on this side. Try to keep your hand file as straight as possible. If you end up starting to file like this, you're going to take away that edge right here, and then the nail shape's going to come out really, really weird. So make sure that you guys are keeping your hand file straight. You see this black line here? I actually use it as almost like a guide, and the whole time that I'm filing, I just look at that line and I just make sure that it's still going up and down as straight as possible. Same with the other side, up and down as straight as possible. Go ahead and file until you can clean up the sides. I want to just preface this though, is with filing, there's so many things you can do with filing, obviously. If you have too much bulkiness, go ahead and file it away. But you have to remember, as a beginner nail tech, the goal is not to spend your time filing. The goal is to minimize as much filing time as possible. And how we're going to do that is you're going to ensure your acrylic application is as decent as you can possibly get it. No one likes the filing process, not me. me and definitely not the clients. So we want to keep that to a minimal, and that's how you're going to help your speed kind of pick up. Once you file the two sides, let's take our hand file and go down on the side and straighten out the side. Just in case any product has gotten to the underside there, I'm going to take my hand file and just file up and down, up and down. Such a beautiful shape already. With the tip, before I start filing, I take my thumb and I hold down their nail plate area as best as I can, and then I'll file at an angle. The reason is if you don't hold this down, it's really uncomfortable for them because you're going to cause your nail to go up and down like this. It's just so uncomfortable. We're going to hold it down and then we can file. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, and now we're going to do the very top. Let's take our hand file and in one direction, file gently, and you should start seeing this show through. Do you guys see how there's two different colors here? There's like a whiter area, that's also white, and then in the middle it's like darker. That's because this surface isn't fully lined up, and that's why I'm doing shaping with my hand file. I'm going to keep going until I can get the whole thing to line up. Beautiful. And you should end up with something that looks like this. We're now going to do the sides as well. Same thing. In one direction, start to blend. Keep going. Flatten it out. Perfect. We're going to do the same thing on this side as well. And now you should have two lines running down the sides, and therefore we're going to go and blend that out again. One direction, blend it out gently. There's no point in going crazy here. Like when you guys are filing, slow down. Don't go too crazy. A good hand file should be able to do most of that work without you having to put too much force into it. Go ahead and blend it out, and there you have it. Everything is now blended out. Now that I have everything blended out with the hand file and I have the shaping done, I'm going to go in with my e-file. So this is the e-file that I have from Acrylic Pro. This is the Flawless Pro e-file, my favorite one. Let's grab our e-file and change out the drill bits, and let's go ahead and change it out to the 5-in-1 drill bit. This is the 5-in-1 drill bit from Acrylic Pro, and I use this for pretty much the majority of that filing, and then I'll swap over to the man drill bit. She is a rechargeable charger, and she lasts so friggin' long. I literally will charge that thing maybe like once every 2 weeks. So now let's take our e-file and let's go ahead and start blending it around on the cuticle area. When you blend out the cuticle area, what this does is as the nails grow out, there won't be like a very harsh edge. So as the nails grow out, hair, fabric, things like that won't get caught behind it. Let's go around the sides, same thing. And you're just blending out the acrylic into the natural nail. Don't go too crazy, just a little bit is fine. And now I'm going to kick up to 12,000 RPM and let's go to the bottom. Same thing, holding down your client's nail. At an angle, we're going to take our e-file and go around the underside. This is just going to clean up any bulkiness that I might have down there. And this is also how I get a nice little C curve, if that's what I'm going for. Okay, perfect. And now I'm going to swap out my 5-in-1 drill bit and let's go into our sanding band. With the sanding band, make sure you guys are always using a fresh sanding band on every single client. Okay, kick it down to, let's do 4,000 RPM, and I'm just going to go around it to smooth everything out. I'm just going to buff it out. I'm not trying to take away product, so don't go too crazy. You're just going to smooth things out. Be careful operating around their cuticle area, just smoothing everything out. Beautiful. Finally, I'll go back in with a hand file just to clean up the tip, clean up the edges just a little bit more, making it a little sharper. I'm going to blend this edge out just a little bit more. Okay, and that's it. There you have your perfectly filed nail. Now for the next step. Finally, we can get into the art. But before we can do that, I need to clean off the nail first. This is where I'm going to give my clients a little scrubby, and I'm going to have them wash their hand and scrub it out, just so that I make sure there's nothing else like stuck in the cuticles. Since this is a mannequin, I'm not going to do that. But real quick, I will buff it out though. It's a little buffer block, and I'm just going through to buff it out just so I can get an extra smooth surface. And now I'm going to change my gloves out. The reason why I change my gloves out at this point is because my gloves will have dust on them and I don't want it to get into the nail. But first off, let's clean it with some alcohol. This is isopropyl alcohol. It's 70% isopropyl alcohol. I'm taking it to a lint-free wipe and just going to clean out the surface of their nail. Usually I'll have them wash their hands. If you're having clients wash their hands, don't let them use soap. A lot of soap nowadays has essential oils in there, and with those oils, it can affect your retention later on when you're dealing with gels on top, because the soap is going to create like an oily layer. Well, not the soap itself, but the essential oils will. Okay, and let me change out my gloves and we'll keep going. Okay, so for a normal French, what I would do during this time is I would apply a velvet matte top coat. But because this is going to be a sugared French, instead of using a velvet matte top coat, we're going to use an ultra glass top coat. And I will show you guys why later on. Let's use the ultra glass top coat from Acrylics Pro, and let's go and just cover the entire nail. I love working with this top coat. This is my favorite top coat ever. It's not just a normal glossy top coat. This is a glass top coat. So what it's going to give you is almost like an encapsulation kind of look, which is really pretty, and I love it. Okay, cover it all. Same concept as acrylic. When you're getting to the cuticles, point the client fingers downwards and let that cure in the lamp for about 60 seconds. Okay, so the gel color I've decided to use is Mint Green from Acrylics Pro in color number 28. She's a really pretty, almost like a pale green color. And I have this little mixing palette that I'm going to just apply some on it first. And we're going to use the liner brush also from Acrylics Pro to pick it up. I'm just doing a little bit since I'm only doing one nail today. The brush I'm using is this Acrylics Pro 11mm liner brush. This is my favorite liner brush. I usually will keep it a little bent in the cap, which is why you'll see that tiny little bend. I usually have it a little bit more bent, so I need to go and bend it some more. But here we go. I'm just going to pick it up, pick up some product, and bring in the hand. There's a camera. Obviously, you guys can see my phone is like in between me and the nail and the camera. So there's going to be a little bit of awkwardness as I navigate through this. But I'll show you guys how I do my French. So how I draw my Frenchies is I pull 2 lines down the sides first. This is just going to help me eyeball where everything needs to go. Usually I work with a bent brush, but I just got myself a new brush, so I haven't had a time to bend it. But I promise you guys it's a little easier to draw when your brush is bent. Okay, and that will help me kind of eyeball where things need to go, and then I just help them meet in the middle. Once everything is filled in, then I'll go through and kind of clean it up. Okay, and once I have my French drawn, you guys, don't cure this. If you want to finish it off, that's fine. You can leave it, but I'm going to be a little extra today, and I'm actually going to sugar it. So don't cure this. Let's grab some paper towels first, and let's also grab some raw glitters. This is just so that things don't get everywhere. The raw glitter I'm using is this one here from Acrylics Pro. It's called Sugar Rush. It's just some like iridescent white glitters. I'm going to grab my cuticle pusher, and I'm going to use it almost as if it's a little spatula. And I'm just going to go through and sprinkle everything on there, onto the wet gel. So don't cure the gel yet. We're going to cure it after. What's really fun about this glitter is that it'll melt into the color underneath. So whatever color you have underneath it, it'll turn it into that, because there's not that much pigmentation in these glitters. So it won't cover up the gel color underneath. So once you've sugared it, let's go ahead and put the hand back into the curing lamp for 60 seconds. And grab a dust brush, and we're just going to dust the glitters off. And there you go, your newly sugared French nails are done. Now I'm just going to do a little bit of last minute kind of hand filing just to finish it off. But that's pretty much all it is. A very simple way to do a French design and get a little bit extra for your clients and upcharge. Beautiful. And there you have it, beautiful sugared French nails, gorgeous. You can do this with any color, you can do it with any raw glitter as long as it's more of like a fine glitter. If you're using chunky ones, unfortunately it isn't going to work. And that's it. I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video, and I hope to see you guys on the next one. Make sure that you guys hit the bell, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.